Hi gurkiran. So I've got the two files up at the same time. Okay. Now, if we just look at yours, which is here. Okay. First thing I want to say is that there's loads of good things about it. It's just it needs treating. Okay. Now, if we compare the two, and we just put them on screen next to each other, there's things in common. There's things they've got in common, but there's also things that are very, very different. Okay. First thing I would say is the level of contrast. Can you see this? If we just averaged this, it would be grey. Okay. If we average this, it's going to be almost black. So I think we need to bump up the contrast, and it might be that what you do is here. It might be that they've painted out a mask here, given it a soft edge, and then just darkened this in completely. But you can see everything about it. This is black here, and the darkest you've got apart from this bit is mid-grey. So I think contrast is the first thing. Second thing is if we just play this. Okay, so the first 5 seconds, which is to the cut. Okay, so it's about 4 or 5 seconds. Almost nothing happens. Got the text coming in, but it's a very, very slow, very gentle start. In the first 5 seconds of yours, you've already had meteorites fly past. You've had an explosion. You've had the stars moving quite quickly. So I think the lesson as well here is that there doesn't need to be so much happening. Okay. And so I would, if you're going to have these coming by, I think we probably need a lot more of, a few more seconds of this. And then probably about here is where this starts. Okay. So it's about timing. And at the moment it's about, if you look at all of this here, look how vivid and strong the color is here compared to here. Okay, obviously you've got the explosion. Interesting as well. This, if we look at these, I don't know what they are, stars or whatever it is coming out. Look how quickly they come, and then you look at how quickly these come. These feel quite slow, and I just wonder whether or not you can try speeding those, the timing. So there's more variation. Very, very slow, minimal amounts of things happening. And then look at the color contrast. We've got really, really white, strong, then black and black. And this strong red, and you don't have that level of contrast. Okay, so if you look at these, it's a case of making it feel more dramatic. Now, if we just play this through a bit more. Lot of depth of field and things blurred. Okay, so very, very blurred out. Okay, everything here is sharp and in focus. Everything, there's not a single thing in focus here apart from the text. Okay. Then in terms of the motion, if you imagine how fast this motion is, firstly it's quite mechanical, the motion. You don't get a sense of the slow, and then fast. It's just a mechanical movement. So I don't know how you've done it, whether you've scaled it or moved the camera in, but either way, I think that what needs to happen is you need to get the easing sorted. Then the other thing is that, again, you've got it sharp here, sharp here, sharp here, sharp here. I think you need some depth of field. You need to suggest that it's blurring out on the edges. But again, look at the levels here, the contrast. This is very washed out grey. Here is really saturated reds and blues and black and white. It's very much, well, I'll show you in actual fact. Command Shift 4 and Control. I'll just screen grab that. Okay, then I will also screen grab this. Okay, so we've got two, it should be two there now, right? Okay, so let's just open those in Photoshop. Open with Photoshop. Okay, so if you just did levels on here and you look at this, what this is saying is that the lightest thing in the entire image is darker than mid-grey, and the darkest thing is nowhere near black. Okay, so if you, just to give you a sense, if you did this, then you're getting that kind of sort of vividness. If, however, you went to this one and did Command L, you can see that there's a lot of very dark, and there's also a spike of white here. So you can see they're using the full range, okay? And you can pull this around back and forth as well. But you get a sense that the full range of it's called dynamic range. There's a much bigger dynamic range. So it's much more drama. So I think the main things that you want to be looking at are to do with contrast and treatment and that depth of field. Okay. And then the other thing, and saturation. The other thing is in timing. So almost nothing happens in this. All right, so we've got a bit of worry bits, foggy, a few lights, small amount, something suddenly reaching, then more of the same. In fact, possibly even the two things put together. Then a separate thing, but that separate thing doesn't come in until 6 seconds, 7 seconds. Actually 9, it's 13 seconds before this arrives. And then it's the same image, and then another element comes in. But you can see there's very little happening, whereas in yours we've got space, we've got stars, we've got rocks flying by, we've got an explosion, all in first 5 seconds. Okay, so I think you need to think about it being slower. Then you've got that pan out, which is just too mechanical. This is much better. Okay, but that's where it is. The thing that will really help is having the sound. I think you need to get the sound on there so that you've got something to edit to. I hope that helps. I'm just aware that I'm meant to be back on at 12:15, so I'll stop there. I'll upload this and send it to you. Okay, cheers, bye.